This is TWiT.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. Enjoy elevating your IT skills with IT Pro from ACI Learning. Get exclusive access to practice labs, tests with real-world simulations, hands-on experience, and test preparation. Learn the way that works best for you. Visit go.acilearning.com/twit to transform your talent with the best-in-class education from passionate experts.
Taking you back to the 90s. It's Flo's Hardware Shack.
By the way, I recently watched like a Vice documentary on Papa Roach.
Oh,
Why?
Okay.
Uh-oh. Don't
Or you just
run,
Tweet. Cricket.
run. Let me have my new medal, okay? That was my
Papa
generation's thing.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Now that we've got that out of our system,
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your time with the S23 Ultra.
This is such a pretty phone. I really do like the green that they added to the colorways this year. It is not as like pastel-y as I would have maybe liked to have in hand, but that's okay. The lavender color that they have is really quite pretty. I don't know if you could tell like this green. You could definitely see the green bouncing off of the light reflection. So, and of course the Ultra has that S Pen, which I got to tell you, I never use. I completely forgot to use it until I was writing my review. And then I was like, oh crap, I need to tell people about the stylus in this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. Yeah. It's nice for the people who really love their stylus. You know, they're going to be happy, of course, as they always are. But yeah, I don't really use the S Pen.
So, okay, the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I want to know where you would like me to start, because I was having kind of a hard time like putting my notes together for this, because I could do this as any regular phone review as I experienced it. Or we could talk about the fact that like the headline of my review really upset a lot of Gizmodo readers. Because I basically said the headline is Samsung's Galaxy S23 Ultra is great, but it would be better if it folded.
Oof. Yeah.
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 I do not, it's not that, so like Samsung makes great phones. They definitely make some of the best phones on the market right now, whether or not you agree with the way they're doing the Android software. But I feel like they are most innovative when it comes to foldables, because A, they're in their fourth generation of them, coming on fifth, and B, they actually have a manufacturing line. So you can trust if you're buying a foldable from Samsung, like there is backup to this, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I first went to the event for the Ultra and the rest of the S23 family, I remember talking to my friend, Caitlin McGarry, who you all know. She's now with the Wirecutter. And I told her, I said, I am just kind of bored by this whole announcement. It just felt, there we go, really tepid.
Wow.
I love the Z Fold 4 has become such a part of my daily use case. And yes, like I do have my primary Pixel 7. That's like my personal phone. But I told Samsung, I said, I'm keeping this phone until the next foldable comes. A, because I want to see how this holds up, since I have been reading about like longevity issues and things of the sort. But also because I want to understand this experience as like a real committed user. And so when you go to the Ultra, it just kind of feels like, why is this here? Why wasn't this just put into a Plus model?
Because, well, I guess that's a good question.
What do you guys think?
I mean, it's a good question. Possibly because it's the legacy of Samsung to always have the Ultra and to shovel in all the best stuff into the Ultra and still have the Reg and the Plus. I don't know, because they always have. That's what the fans of Ultra have come to expect. Is
that a good reason though, Jason?
I don't know that I'm not saying that it's a good reason. Yeah. I'm just saying like it's a valid question, right? Like why can't some of this functionality be in the lesser devices? And yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Other than to say that like the Ultra user, and the Note user of days of old, are essentially kind of the same people to a large degree. And they want that larger form factor with the S Pen. Other than that, I don't know. It's a good question.
It's $1,200.
Yeah.
It's $1,200 starting price for the S23 Ultra, and that only gets you 8 gigs of RAM, which I'm sorry, but if you are spending that much on a phone, you better
totally agree.
Darn well get 12 gigs of RAM, because you can get 12 gigs of RAM in a OnePlus phone that I'll tell you, Samsung did some tweaks to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 that's in this, but it doesn't soar above a OnePlus 11, which is, variably cheaper in price, and has similar capabilities, and even almost a similar screen size. These are all big phones. So my argument was that the S Pen should be taken out of the Ultra completely, put into the Fold, because to me that makes the most sense in terms of usability, because using an S Pen on this narrow screen, I know there are artists out there, but I do not see myself as a note taker with this. Okay. There's no note taking happening here. If I'm doing note taking on it, it's digital. I'm typing it out, right? Because I have this big screen.
But there are people who use this and have for years in exactly the way that you're talking about, right? And those are the people. Those are the people that are willing to spend $1,200 on the Ultra.
It's hard for me. The thing is about this phone, though, is that when I think about the price tag, I also think about the cameras on the back, because I'm coming at you right now from a mirrorless camera that cost me 2 Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultras, but it's a camera I'm going to have for a really long time. And, its sole purpose is a camera. This is not a sole camera. This is a camera and everything that a phone can do. But so I can kind of understand why maybe somebody would want to spring for that capability that's built into the back there. But you will get very similar shots with an iPhone 14 Pro or a Pixel 7 Pro. So
as what you get on the Ultra.
Correct. In terms of just everyday photography, I'm shooting my kid at the park. It's a dreary day and there's a rainbow, or there's a full moon out. I can do all of those things with an iPhone 14 Pro and a Pixel 7 Pro. Yes, the S23 Ultra has some cool added features to it. And yes, you could do a 100x digital zoom. But when you go all the way to 100x, it's A, really creepy. And B, it doesn't even look good enough to share with anybody.
Yeah.
You could get away with up to 20x, really. Even for a concert, which was, I think, the situation that you're showing there. By the way, is that Rage Against the Machine?
No, it's Humphreys McGee. But
okay.
I was not super close to the stage on a lot of these shots, and yet I use the zoom to get some of these, and these kinds of things always look different when you put them on a desktop. I didn't move the photos.
The video
over.
looked really good.
The video looked great. Yeah, I would say the video on this phone is spectacular, especially compared to something like a Pixel. Pixel video has always been blah. But
oh my gosh,
I got some pretty great photos
per second.
I got some pretty great kind of challenging photos at the concert from pretty far away. Considering so.
Yeah, but I still don't think you need 100x to really do that.
No.
And there is, by the way, an astrophotography mode on the S23 Ultra that comes as part of the Expert Raw. I'm going to call it an app. You do have to download it from the Galaxy Store to get it configured in the Samsung Camera app, but it's also available on the regular GS23. And so you can technically do the same thing with those that you can with this phone.
Mm.
Because it's just using AI to do the thing that you were doing, which, Burke, I sent you a link in our Slack that I forgot to send over to Jason earlier, but basically they are my...
I put it in the doc. It's at the bottom of the links list of this story in the rundown, Burke. And yes, it's got some photo comparisons.
So I can go through it.
And so he's
I wanted to... if you guys want to look through it with me, we can. I will say that the photos are great. I know it's not great for the audio listeners, but I did take some incredible photos with the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I am really thankful for that too, because it was one of the most beautiful sunsets I've seen in my life. I happened to be in Santa Barbara when I was testing this phone, so I got to walk to the beach and take some really gorgeous photos. And I was particularly struck by Samsung's definitely worked on its algorithms so that it's not oversaturating when it doesn't have to. It's still kind of doing that on rainy days, I will say, which we didn't have rain when I was writing the review, so I couldn't test it. But at least on like the beautiful clear days, it's gotten a lot better at tempering how much editing it does in the post-processing phase so that things look as they looked to the naked eye. So the mountains in Santa Barbara, I believe they're the San Ynez Mountains, you could see kind of the way like the shadows were popping up on them from the sunset that was not quite bursting, but obviously like lighting it. And instead of increasing the saturation on that part of the picture so all it looked in focus, they left it as it looked in real life, like it was kind of like there was depth and it was in the background of these palm trees. And that's not something that I really felt was happening with the S22. So it's clear that they're making use of the 200 megapixel sensor that they put in there. It's grabbing more light. It's grabbing more detail. By the way, it's doing pixel binning anyway. So you're not really shooting at 200 megapixel. You're shooting at the equivalent of that multiplied, I believe it's 12 megapixels. So 200 divided by 12, whatever that would be. You do the math.
Let me just do that in my head just real quick. 16.66666666667.
Okay, I think it's like something like that.
Totally off the top of my head. Completely.
Yeah. Listen, it's a great camera, but again, no different from the iPhone Pro or the Pixel Pro. And then if you go to the very last slide, Burke, of that slideshow, I believe it's slide 13. Go ahead and keep going. Sorry to our audio listeners that we're doing this over audio. We're just kind of going through some night shots. Okay, so this is it.
Oh, there you go.
The astrophotography mode does have this very cool feature where you can basically turn on like a Star Walk overlay of sorts.
I remember the old apps that in the early days of Android where that was like one of the neat things you could do with your smartphone. Yeah, now it's just baked in.
So what this will do is you set it up, you set it on a tripod, you point it up at the sky, it will take your location data relative to where you are standing, and then it will map that over the sky so you know where the constellations are if you cannot see them with the naked eye. And then it does a long exposure shot, but it increases the contrast of the stars associated with that particular constellation, so that when you have a picture, you can barely see it, unfortunately, on the screen that we are showing you on camera. Yeah, if you zoom really in, you can see the Big Dipper.
That's
standing out prominently.
Gotta say, that's
very cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty
awesome.
Cool feature. So, it does remind me of was it a Huawei phone that you take a picture of the moon and they just all looked really sharp, and it's like, wait a minute, how much of this is actually the camera versus like AI, tweaking to make everything just look almost perfect, But it looks really cool. It's a neat feature.
I will say I'm still using the Ultra.
Maybe it was Samsung.
Sorry, this is my life.
Maybe it was
the
Samsung.
Ultra is the down. The Ultra is the downstairs phone, and the Fold is the upstairs phone.
Oh man, Flo.
Dang, hard life.
I know.
Not that I can talk.
I know. Listen, it is my job to use these things. I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm still using it. I really love it for TikTok, obviously. I really love it for typing. It's really great at taking like selfie video. If you're doing, it will work with TikTok, by the way. If you want to upload high resolution video, it'll allow you to do that, which previously was an iPhone only feature. But the $1,200 price tag, I strongly believe that Samsung should maybe pare down the flagship offerings and really focus on these foldables and making them more mainstream and more affordable, because I really like the dual action device.
Yeah.
I really do. I do. So
that is the Galaxy S23 Ultra.
Before we move on, though, to the next thing, look at that beautiful, those of you watching the video, the beautiful sunset.
It's pretty.
God. See,
good photo.
I will say this is the nice part of the job.
You have lots of really nice photos scattered throughout your Google Photos library. I have those too.
Jason, would you, so I did want to show you the, this is the 23, the regular 23, and then what did I...
Oh, it looks so tiny.
What did I do? Oh, there it is. And then here's the 23 Plus. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, let me turn it around. And then here is...
It's like a friggin' tablet.
Ultra.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
Turn
goodness.
it the other way. So,
Okay. There we go.
That is ultra.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
By comparison.
Wow.
That is very ultra.
The S20. I love this phone. So I'm writing the review for this right now because, as you may all know, I was supposed to be here last week, but I had migraines. So I was supposed to finish this, but I will be finishing this review this week. The S23. I focused more on the small one just because I'm very curious living life with a small phone. We don't have many of those in
a lot
Android
of people,
land.
that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that smaller form factor. The Ultra is too big for a lot of people. I mean, it's huge. It's gigantic.
You can't handle it all. That's how big it is.
It's as big as my face. Look at that. It's almost as big, like, you know? It's as
I
big as
just
my
want to show
face.
one quick demo before we go to the next phone, which we'll touch upon quickly.
Oh, that's right.
And Jason,
right. I forgot
there
about
is
that.
Something
This
very
is the
cool
thing.
that this phone can do, this little S23, and it involves Bixby.
Oh, geez.
I'm getting a call from Jason Howell right now. I wonder.
right.
Let's see. I'm gonna tap on Bixby text call. Okay. Jason, tell me what you hear.
I'm using Bixby text call to convert your voice into text and respond to you.
Okay.
If you want to continue, say who you are and why you're calling.
I'm.
Hey, Jason, I'll call you later, dude.
You're going to call me later?
Thanks for having me on the phone.
Wow. So you're typing,
later.
or are you typing these things and it's speaking for you? Is that what's going on?
Yes.
That got me.
Are you calling from the future and you knew exactly what I was going to say there before I said it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's me. Hi.
Hi. I don't believe that you're really Flo.
Jason, ask her something only Flo would know.
What is your favorite TV show from the 90s?
90,210 views.
I wondered how that was going to work.
90,210.
Can you repeat that, please?
What? I need to repeat that?
Could you repeat that, please?
This is weird. Thank you, Flo, via
I
Bixby.
can't talk right now.
What?
I'll call you back later.
Okay, all right. We'll talk another time. Thank you for the call.
Bye.
It was really nice talking with you, Flo. That was so weird.
So Flo, what do you? What do you, what
hold
do you
on.
see?
It's gonna
Do you
get
see
weirder.
Text on your side?
Yes. So I guess I didn't show you guys that part, but it's kind of hard to show on the camera. Yeah. So I see text. Everything Jason was saying was being transcribed for me. Now, as you can imagine, the transcription is a very Google Voice-like transcription.
Yeah.
It's the faster Jason talks, the more wobbly the transcription goes.
Sorry, yeah.
Literally just launched last week. This is called a Bixby Voice Call. Bixby Voice Call? Yes, I believe. Here's something creepy. Pretty soon, so this is rolling out to Korean users right now, but pretty soon Bixby will be able to clone your voice to answer your calls. So you won't be hearing a Bixby voice. You'll be hearing like an AI representation of whatever voice I've recorded within the device.
Wow, that
thank you.
sounds interesting and rife for abuse.
Welcome to the Uncanny Valley, baby.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I am intrigued and frightened all at the same time.
As it should be.
Woo, that was fun. Thank you for doing that. I'm happy you remembered that because we talked about it before the show, and I almost just ran right past it. That was fantastic.